up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Schoolboy Roll Up, the wrestling podcast you didn't know you needed. After you've listened to us, hop on the socials and join the conversation with us there. We're at Schoolboy Roll Up on Instagram and Twitter and pretty much anywhere else you could think of. And as always, I'm Rob. I'm here with Nick and Greg. And
you mentioned we're on Etsy. Are we on Etsy now?
Yeah, that's been really popular lately. People have been like really into us on Etsy.
We're popping off.
We got analytics, and this week is brought to you by Stone Cold Steve Austin's Broken Skull 316 IPA by El Segundo Brewing Company.
Specifically, that can that Rob is about an eighth of the way through. It is sponsored by that.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's not the same as his other ones, but you know what? It's got a nice little lighter taste. Not bad.
Are we dealing more like, is this a session kind of thing going on, Rob? Can I have these throughout the day? Maybe I go fishing.
Oh, you could all day this baby, I think. Okay. I don't know if you've remembering having his other one. Just like yeah, this one tastes it's a little less hoppy, and it's higher alcohol, which is kind of strange, but who would have thought? Hell yeah. What? So I think the easiest place for us to start this week, guys, is March Madness. And before we get into some wrestling, I would just love to go over a little bit of some NCAA tournament with you guys. I know, Greg, you're running a big pool for everybody. And what do you guys think? Who do you guys got taking everything?
Nick, who do you have taking everything?
This yearly process is gambling via hostage, forced upon me by relatives in society. Okay? Don't care about any of it. And you're going to have the same conversations with your friends over the next few weeks about my bracket this, and I had this team that, and you stink, you're terrible. You don't know anything about anything. You probably never played basketball in an organized fashion your whole life. And I use ChatGPT to fill mine out. I have in the past also used ESPN to fill out my bracket and won money from children. and that pleases me greatly.
All right, so there is no winner for you. Okay, good. All right.
On that note,
yeah,
I'm going to go against Nick. I did play organized basketball. It was called rec. I went off against Rob in 8th grade for 18 points.
Oh, wow. I
totally
remember.
Destroyed his team. Set him back. And let's talk about my bracket. You know what? I know everything. Why do I know everything? Because I watched about 4 hours of basketball in the past week when I haven't watched all season. And then I used the recommendations that the bracket told me. I said, oh, this team's favored by 2.5 points. You know what? I'm going to go with the underdog because that makes me feel better when I have a lot of basic number one picks going to the Final Four. But for right now, I'm a genius. I called McNeese. I don't know what state McNeese is in, but I felt very confident about it. They're definitely winning. And once again, I don't really know how good Gonzaga is, but I know they're an 8 seed. And anytime Gonzaga is a lower seed, I put them way too far. If Gonzaga is a high seed, I eliminate them so early. So Gonzaga is going to the Elite 8 this year.
All right.
Mark my words.
Okay, so Gonzaga, only Cinderella. They can just never be more than a Cinderella.
They're a Cinderella.
Okay.
Maybe they've done something in the past. I don't remember because I forget all of this after 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's gone. It's crazy for a month and then nobody remembers it at all. Right? Like who won the title last year? Do you remember? Do either one of you remember?
Absolutely. Did you say Winthrop? Was it Winthrop?
It was Winthrop. You're right.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Purdue was in it in the championship.
Purdue.
Did they win?
They did not win.
Yeah.
But you're right. You're right. They were in the championship. I do know that.
All right.
Okay.
But if you must know, Nick and Rob, I'm highly confident after my almost 1 week of research that Florida is going to win it in Greg's super basic Final Four. I'm basically the new Barack Obama because I've got number 1 Florida playing number 1 Auburn. And on the other side, it gets really crazy. I've got number 1 Duke going up against number 2 Tennessee.
Wow.
Yeah.
You really went outside the box there.
I'm relatable.
You love chalk.
I guess.
Yeah, I guess. You love chalk.
I mean, I'm more of a dry erase board these days.
Oh, love a good dry erase board.
Smart board. Yeah. You got to evolve.
But I feel confident that just like I put up 18 against Rob in 8th grade, that Florida is going to just run away with the Lombardi Trophy.
Yep.
They are definitely the sexy
Stop
pick this
making
year.
me write names of colleges on a piece of paper and giving my father-in-law $20 every March. I just don't want to do it. Want my $20.
That is essentially what it is. You are very right about that. People that you never knew were following any sort of sport are saying like, "Hey, you didn't join my bracket. You didn't join my bracket."
Yeah,
like,
your
well,
brother.
Okay,
Father.
well,
Oh, in-laws only. No direct blood is making me gamble. But these in-laws are killing me.
They always find a way to get you.
Yeah.
For the record, UConn did win last year. They won the past 2 years, and
I thought it was Winthrop.
It was. They went so far. I don't even remember if they made the tournament. But just for the record, I did.
It was
St.
UConn,
John's.
the main campus. Was it the main campus?
It was not. It was UConn Stores, which is the main campus. So it wasn't like UConn Meadowfield
Hartford?
or some weird town name like they have in Connecticut.
Well, that's going to really tank our audience in Connecticut.
The analytics are going to be like, what is this show?
We love Connecticut. We love Connecticut.
We love you, Ghana. We love you. Hi, Ghana.
Hey, Ghana.
Oh yeah, Ghana. Ghana is we're big in Ghana, so we got to keep these people happy. But yes, I picked St. John's. I'm a Big East bitch, so we will see where that goes. Shall we delve into a little bit of wrestling?
Nick, would you like that, or would you like to talk about March Madness some more?
Well, I can complain. I love complaining. So if you want me to talk more about March Madness, I mean,
all right, let's go on to wrestling.
We love hearing you complain. I personally do. It's always funny. So the one thing I want to, what I want.
Actually, hold on one sec.
Yeah, sure.
We're interrupted by. Don't forget to get our new segment sponsored by Steve Austin's new beer called Samoan Gyrations and Complaining. Nick, take it away. Let's go.
Oh, Nick, stop making me fill out these brackets. Stop making me fill out these brackets. That's all I'm saying.
Look at it go. I love it.
And that's it for our new segment called Samoan Gyrations and
Broken Skull IPA.
Complaining, sponsored by Broken Skull IPA.
Perfect. It's going to be a hit. So the one thing I want to know is you guys never, ever ask me how I'm doing. You never ask me how I'm doing. And we have baby faces, we have heels, and we have human beings. And this is what John Cena said to everybody. Now, I know Greg was a little put off by this promo. I'm not sure where you stand yet, Nick. I didn't necessarily love the promo. I didn't necessarily hate it. I did think it went on too long. But Nick, what did you think overall of Cena's coming out party as Mr. Heel?
Yeah, they gave us the goods. He talked to the people who I bought in that he was going to do something more dramatic with his look or his music because I thought that would be really cool. So I was excited for that to happen. And he called that out, said, "I'm not doing any of that." Yeah, he kind of, he said all the stuff that if he had done this or like years ago would have hit more, and it was like a little oversold in terms of like I'm the victim. Like he didn't say that. Like he's not a victim of anything.
I don't get that. Like
that was a little weak for me. But look, he said the crowd made the promo what it was. because they were just, he had them like in the palm of his hand, and that I think was the most impressive part of it. The content, yeah, was like a little overdone. I don't know. I mean, they gave us a good raw open with this 30-something minute segment. We got him, we got Cody. Cody was better than him, but it may have just been because Cody was out there for the right amount of time.
It's a great point. Great point.
Gave us the short and sweet, and what everything he said was powerful. Walked out, looked like the champ, sounded like the champ. I don't know. I do like it. I do think we got some memorable moments with him, like calling out that little kid. That might be the only thing people remember from that years from now, because that's insane. That was like this kid right here.
Oh,
I'm breaking up with this kid right here. And he was like, kid doesn't even know what's going on.
He had that blank look on his face.
Like, I'm on TV. This is great, but John Cena's yelling at me.
That kid is definitely a plant. Let's not be ridiculous on this.
They planted the kid. I mean, they did plant somebody for Logan Paul to rip their shirt off, so they're not above that.
That kid is an industry plant. No, I just think. Listen, I wanted to love it. I know we were texting, and Nick, you were a little bit ahead on watching it before I got there.
I was working from home.
Very excited.
Raw.
And I turned it on. I really want to love it. After the fact, I don't. And I posted this on our Twitter the other day. If you get rid of that hot crowd, and that crowd's amazing, I don't know if this hits as well. Yeah. And John Cena turning heel was always going to get a reaction. Like everybody, us included, rightfully so, was up in arms that he turned heel because he's never done it before. And for him to just come out and give that promo, it fell to me flat. I just don't think it was what we were looking for necessarily. It's all of a sudden all the fans' fault. It just seems you're supposed to suspend your belief when it comes to wrestling. And that to me just felt like some acting right there, because I'm watching John Cena, who appears to be a very buttoned up, really good human being, trying to play a heel character. And it just came across as disingenuous to me. And last week, like I said, and I'm hoping that there's still hope for it, I do want to see more changes in his character. I don't want him just to be hat, t-shirt, wristband, jorts, John Cena. I would love to, let's do this like Roman Reigns in fall of 2020. Start the dive now. Give me some gradual changes as we move along into your new version of the character. And obviously this is a podcast. We're supposed to take hotter takes on this. Was it bad? No. But I just don't think it lived up to the hype that we were all going in with for it. So, and then Cody Rhodes for me right now, just still, I know he's over, and I might just be the minority on this, but he just comes out and he's like, I'm edgy. I'm just going to hit you with a curse word, and that gets me over right now. Yeah, John Cena was whiny, but you didn't add too much to it. And you're just basically like, I'm interested in hearing what you have to talk about. And this is it.
I'm as I told you, the more I've listened to you, the more I slightly agree with you a little bit more. But the one thing that I did love about the promo is that I thought Cody's interaction with him was perfect, because it didn't last long. He came out, and Nick said this, he came out and he made the most of his time, which was just a few minutes. And I think it really broke up Cena's long-winded 30 minutes of just complaining that it all sounded like the same thing almost. And I've grown very tired of Cody. I still appreciate everything that he's done and how he's gotten here, but I'm so tired of this character. And I thought for the first time in a while, I was like, oh, I actually like that. I don't know. I think we need to go a little bit more all of a sudden, like you said, Cena's not all of a sudden just a bad guy who hates kids, and this is silly. he should be doing just bad guy things, you know, like instead of just yelling at people. I'm not really sure.
One dimensional in the terms of how he laid out the why of it. Needed to be a little more selfish and less.
Yeah,
you guys are the reason this is bad. And,
or you almost go with the idea of what I think Cody was starting to work on towards the end of his AEW tenure, but you do it with Cena, where Cena doesn't almost believe he's the heel and still tries to be overly babyface, but then does heelish, to your point, Nick, he still does heelish acts that annoy the fans.
It would make sense. I mean, they need to, long term, I don't see how this works out in this specific manner. Hopefully there's a little more to come.
There's so much time for twists.
Yes.
There's no way, you don't present this thing with The Rock involved without The Rock getting more involved, and that will add the dimension.
Nick, Dave Meltzer told me that his sources told him that The Rock is out at WrestleMania 41. And that's why Rock's not being brought up.
His existence in the wrestling infosphere when it comes to The Rock is
it's so comical.
He serves a specific purpose, and that is to spread misinformation on the dealings of The Rock.
I just don't understand, like it's been pretty clear for a while now that it seems like Meltzer's been always given bad information. And I think there was even like a couple plants, like maybe a few years ago, where they told him the wrong stuff on purpose and he still reported it. Like, I don't remember the exact situation. Maybe you do, but it's actually laughable.
The dude's got to eat, and I respect that that's his business. But at the same point, I think all of us as fans are just like, all right, his answers are wishy-washy. They get canceled all the time because obviously plans change in wrestling, but at times it's just vague. And you don't know what direction it's moving.
I think he's important enough of a entity in the wrestling world that like he's just part of the work now. It's built in. If you're keyed in enough to know who he is and hear the thing he says, you're getting that information because it's part of the work. And whatever. It makes more sense than this guy who's this decorated reporter who's been on the inside of wrestling for decades being wrong all the time.
Right? He's definitely maybe the foremost like wrestling historian. I could give him that. I just think his like journalistic space is completely gone. Right?
It's lacking.
It's definitely lacking.
But he's more than welcome to come on Schoolboy Roll-Up anytime we like.
We would love to have him on.
Just admit that it's a work.
Time for our new segment brought to you by Austin 316 IPA. Admit that it's a work.
Yeah. Wow, we could probably come up with some pretty good spots for that, I would think.
Yeah.
Don't you think? Like, there's been some good ones over the years. Actually. There's been some good ones.
That one might stick.
When we eventually have a guest, it's just us grilling the guest.
Admit it. No, we want you to just be honest.
You're actually not allowed to go off of the podcast until you say it is.
We're locking you out.
The segment doesn't end until you say it.
Yeah.
No, they're not even on like a fourth camera. They have to be in the room with one of us.
Just sagging out.
Minutes of work.
Oh my God. He still never would. The last thing I want to talk about with this Cena thing is everybody wanted to compare the Cena heel turn to the Hogan heel turn. Now, you can see the after effects of the heel turns were completely different. Hogan had a heat forever, and they did it the right way. And like people the next day on Nitro weren't questioning whether or not it came off right. Like, it was good. And this is my problem with the Cena one, is like we had this big moment, and I'm worried that it's screwed up. So that's my final thought on that.
You're so
Well,
dramatic.
it
I
went
am.
from being the most
I am.
interesting storyline guaranteed to like it could be usurped tomorrow by the Seth Roman Punk thing.
Yeah.
You know, they took their foot off the gas a little bit.
A little
It
bit.
may not be the most interesting thing,
But that's
going
because
on
Dave
anymore.
Meltzer told us that The Rock might not be at WrestleMania. So, you know.
Now, fine. Let's take that. Do any of us right now believe that The Rock won't be at Mania?
No,
No.
absolutely. Like
He's there.
Yeah.
He's definitely there. Unless
he
he's
showed
not.
up at Bad
Unless
Blood,
he's
and
not.
he's not going to show up at
Admit
Mania.
it. Admit it.
I'm tweeting from both Schoolboy and my personal account at Dave Meltzer.
We got to get him on. Someone who we know will be at WrestleMania is Rhea Ripley, who I think hilariously and very this is wrestle crap to me, decided to just sign the contract. Like nobody's ever had that idea before in these contract signings. And all of a sudden this counts. Like, how does this work? Why is this way? Greg, tell me.
It's different because she's a female. Only male wrestlers have done this before. This is an entirely different division comprised of women. So it's never been done before, according to WWE, because they're females and not males.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not supposed to understand that this totally mimics WrestleMania 20 setup of a wrestler, which I cannot name, Shawn Michaels and Triple H. When they're like, hey, wrestler who cannot be named, you're going to face Triple H. And Shawn Michaels is like, not so fast. I'm going to kick you and I'm going to sign the contract. And you're like, okay. But knowing that, I think Triple H likes to pay homage at times to great storylines of the past. And that triple threat might be the greatest triple threat of all time. Not in my personal opinion, but I think a lot of people believe that's the greatest triple threat to ever happen is between Michaels, Triple H, and whoever that third party was. And I think while you know where I stand, and I would love to see the Battle of the Titans, King Kong, Godzilla, Ray, and Bianca, you're going to have an amazing match with the addition of my favorite trash can wearing Io Sky high flying girl in that.
We can name her. It's okay to name her.
I could name her.
Yes.
And it should realistically be a fatal 4-way. So we could add No, that doesn't work right now.
Folks,
but
you can tell he's back in the basement.
I couldn't say it last week, so
yeah, you got to get it in. You got to.
I got it out. You know, there's no friends right there today. There's no friends up there. You know, no new friends.
No new friends.
But no,
a little bit of a ham-fisted way to get to the triple threat, but they got there. They're there. They have a few weeks to build on it, and it can still be good. The interest level of these things is waffling, and so maybe that's part of what they're trying to do. They want you to be just as interested in everything as everything else, so it all got to get set up first. And
now,
we'll see. It's weird they repeated the spot where they pushed her away. Like, yeah, we get it.
Why did they do that again? What?
It's really drive the point home, I guess.
I guess it's just
drive the point home that Io is the afterthought when she shouldn't be. She's the underdog compared to both of them,
which means she's gonna win.
Which would be great.
Would be great. But speaking of, storylines shuffling and interests, growing and waning.
Oh, interesting.
Our guy Jey Uso.
Yeah, he's having a rough go of it right now, huh?
Yeah. If we go back to
that was fantastic transition.
We're talking. We're going back to the first episode. We're talking about him winning the Rumble, and then maybe like he had just declared that he's taking Gunther or whatever. I'm like, said it on that episode. I was like, what are they just gonna like fight each other for 7 weeks? And that's what the heck is happening.
Mm-hmm.
You got to win these pointless matches, and it's like, oh, there's Jey Uso. Oh, he did his entrance. Oh, here's Gunther. Next week, Jey Uso's in a random match. Oh, here's Gunther. And oh, here's Jey Uso in the back, but Gunther's there too, and they're mad at each other. So it's like the most basic. Yes, that is it. It's like the most. Sorry, Gunther's a little bigger. He's like, and so it's like the most old school, like, oh, these guys are fighting, and they're gonna keep fighting until they fight.
Would you have preferred the super whack like storyline that they've done way too many times, where they're like, oh no, they don't like each other, but they've been forced to team up by whoever the general manager / authority figure is, and now they won the tag titles for 3 weeks.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh
yeah.
Don't do that.
That was definitely a Vince McMahon thing, right? That had to be.
Loved. Oh, they've been
good shit.
They've been forced to win the tag titles.
Yeah.
So right now we're gonna Gunther's won a bunch of these weekly standoffs. So the answer is, let's book Jey super strong and have a 5-second match with Austin Theory. It's a bad spear followed by a botch dive out of the ring, and he just like comes back in the ring after, and he's like, sorry.
Yeah, he did do that. What? Doesn't it feel like it was like a year ago that he won the Royal Rumble? Doesn't it? Like this is went on a really long time right now, and it's just it's fading out, very slowly fading out. There's no way he can win.
There's like no dimensions to it.
Because there's no way he can win.
It's just me. And I feel like they want just that picture of him holding the title and everybody going like, that's what they're looking for. But how do you have him win? He's just not looking great right now. I don't know. Right?
He's not. He's literally not looking great. I feel like he looks like someone you're going to see at the town pool.
Yeah. with their little thermos filled with whatever.
I don't know why he's put under such a microscope against. I mean, I know why, because he's like, whatever. People say all those things about how he wrestles and stuff. But I don't know. If you're under that big of a microscope and you have that many haters, you just can't give him any ammunition, and they got a little ammunition this week. So they're going to use it.
You know where I stand. I'm super repetitive. I'm not going to stop on this. He's not beating Gunther. His story is not ready to conclude yet.
No.
This is another hiccup, or, it's just another pothole on his eventual road to WrestleMania. Like, this isn't his WrestleMania. It's still what I said many weeks ago when I was so wrong.
You're looking pretty right. So.
Guy.
You're right. Yeah. You were ahead of the curve.
I was so ahead that I was behind at that moment.
Yeah. Some people are so far behind in the race they think they're winning.
It's all right, Rob. I've never heard that, but I believe it. I believe it.
That's very deep.
I can't take credit. That's Junior Soprano. Someone who I feel like is hot though is Ludwig. And
Ludwig,
and he deserves a little pusheroo. But we got Penta, who we thought was cool last week and went over in a big way in an awesome match, by the way. And declared at the end that he wants to be going for the IC title. Do you guys think that, do you think that we've brought back Penta into the forefront, Nick? What do you think?
They're not letting you forget it, that's for sure. I mean, he was him and Braun standing there in the ring at the end of the show. And when somebody's new and they're as good as he is, it's a good idea to try and capitalize on it. And I guess to get this match set up, but I mean, I feel like Penta and Ludwig's not done. But I mean, how many multi-man matches are we going to do? Is this two babyfaces also? I feel like I'm not sure about what Braun is necessarily.
Whoa.
People love him. But,
People
Rob, you
love.
okay?
Yeah.
What?
You okay, Rob?
No.
Look,
No.
give this guy his push early and see what he does with it. See if he can keep the crowd interested, or let him have a great match with Braun and then see where it goes from there. Like, either outcome is good for him. So I'm kind of on board with it.
I'm just glad he's back right now. This was what I was ending it on last week. He's so over. Can't not love this guy. He's a great wrestler, but I mean, he has the it factor. Both, honestly, so does Kaiser. Like, they were excellent in the ring together. Like, it's what we already spoke about. Like, Kaiser is going to continue moving up the ladder in WWE, but rightfully so is Penta right now. I mean, I cannot get enough of the Mexican Destroyer. Like,
It's
give
so
me that.
good.
How does he
It
make
is
that
so
move
good.
look so
Like,
good?
Also, the
So
fact that he hit it from the second rope this week
Yeah.
onto a chair. My only issue is maybe that should be the finisher.
Yeah, how do you go?
He doesn't
How
need
do you
to
not
also
do that
then
next
do the
time?
Penta driver.
Make that the finisher.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a good move. But no, I'm thrilled for Penta because Penta could go. The guy that he's going to be wrestling, that Rob, what's he do again?
Wait.
What's
Whoa.
Oh, yeah, Ron Breaker. Yeah, that's going to be a wonderful match because I think you're looking at Penta's excellent at what he does. Braun's not the same style, but he brings a freakish athleticism, and I think they'll pair up well together. So I look forward to when it happens. Do I think it's a clean finish? Probably not. In some ways, could I see like Finn Balor coming back around in this, or Judgment Day clouding up the whole thing? Absolutely.
What about them doing the frame for frame Eddie Dom with the Latino Heat shirt on?
Oh yeah, that was
I see, just like Eddie Guerrero. What was that crazy foreshadowing
That was great.
and homage there?
And that was a fine homage.
It was so good.
Greg, I have to be honest. You mentioned Judgment Day. That gives us an opportunity to talk about one of our most favorite people, JD McDonough. What do you think about JD? What are your thoughts about JD McDonough these days? He's out. He's hurt. He needs something nice.
But he's out because he's a good hand at what he does.
A warrior.
He's a good hand.
He's a and I know I believe that's a little bit of an insulting term in wrestling from what I gather. But no, JD, I think, is a great wrestler. I think it's cool that he's paired with his former mentor and trainer, Finn Balor. Like they've already talked about, I think it's tough for him to shine in Finn's shadow. So I think that's why he plays the role of a lackey right now. As far as where he eventually goes in his career, I think you're looking at a guy who's going to hover around the mid card. I don't think he's moving up much higher than that, but he'll be an excellent tag worker in mid card IC US matches. Maybe bring him over to NXT to work with some guys. Puts on a good match. What do you think about him, Rob?
I think that, after watching the Chris Van Vliet interview with JD McDonough, I just think that it's hard not to root for this guy. And I like you think he's a great hand who somebody like Dolph Ziggler would be very, very annoyed with that term. But he could definitely go. He's a little small. But
you mean what's his name now? Nick Nemeth?
Nick Nemeth. I guess that's his real name though. So
yeah.
And it's always weird to me that he has a brother. I don't know why it's weird. But
he go by his government.
And now introducing with his government name, Nick Nemeth. What? It's just weird. But yeah, I like JD McDonough. He's like a little shit,
Yeah.
It's good. He's good. He's like good at his job.
Speaking of government names, last week it had me thinking, what is Lex Luger's government name?
Maybe we'll find out.
Dude,
hit us up on Etsy and Twitter and let us know.
And LinkedIn too, please.
Yes, absolutely. But definitely Twitter, because could we Google this? Yeah. But we're looking to actually interact with somebody. Like
we want somebody to interact with us.
It's just the three of us. And Meltzer's not getting back to us anytime soon.
Eventually he is going to be in one of our houses doing this until we make him admit it. But until then...
Yeah, he's got a wild name, by the way.
Does he? You got to tell us now. It's like
Okay,
Terry.
well, his first name is just Lawrence, a.k.a. Larry, a.k.a. Larry Luger.
Larry Luger.
But his middle name is Wendell.
Wow.
And his last name is Pfohl, Pfohl, which sounds like a made-up word.
I think that's German or something.
For baby.
Foal.
Larry Luger.
If we were talking about what's his name? So
Larry
what's the name?
Luger.
Lawrence Wendell Pfohl.
Okay. But if we're talking about the record producer Lex Luger, it is Lexus Arnell Lewis.
Much
Oh
cooler
my God.
name. That's a much
It's almost
cooler
not
name.
even original. He barely changed it.
I mean, the producer's name is Lexus.
Lexus King.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's the first thing I think of. But if your name is Brian Pillman Jr., why are you going by Lexus King? Can we figure this out?
I don't want you to think about my super famous dad.
I don't
want
to go by my government. Okay.
Well, I mean, why is Braun Breaker not a Steiner? I mean,
he should be.
Braun is his real name, so I mean, I don't know.
There should be more Steiners in the world. I think we can agree with that.
Yes.
I guess this actually gives us an opportunity to answer a question from our ever-growing audience. And this one is from brother-in-law Beans. And he asked us, give us your collective Mount Rushmore of least favorite wrestlers or wrestlers you love to hate in 2025.
Well, also, so I don't have to think as much. I'm going to get into the semantics. He does say, give us your collective Mount Rushmore. So
yeah, we have to come up with it together.
I'm contributing.
Yes, you just have to come up with one.
To this Mount Rushmore. It's hard to think of somebody that I hate. It's been a long while since I've had a strong enough of an opinion to hate anybody. And I just it's such a crazy profession to even do. So I just respect everybody that does it. So I'm like, I don't really hate any of them. But so I have to think back to when I was younger. Like, who was I like, oh, why is this guy on the screen?
I would love to give you one right off the bat because it's somebody I don't like right now. And it's Eddie Kingston in AEW. I can't stand this guy.
No?
No. The whole gimmick is just shit. He's like an overweight guy that's just like he tries too hard. And I feel like he should just be like in the mud fields of wrestling. I don't know. I'm just not into Eddie Kingston, so.
Rob.
Yes.
What female wrestler am I not a huge fan of?
Right now or ever?
Right now. Get in my brain.
Get in your brain.
You think she's a bird?
Oh. You think she's a bird?
Do you not know it, Rob? Do you not know it, Rob?
No, I can't think of it right now. The Lyra Valkyria? Lyra Valkyria, right? Okay, good.
What is her gimmick? She's just like, I'm athletic and I think I'm a bird. It's not. There's no gimmick. There's no gimmick.
There is no gimmick.
She's just like, I'm Birdman.
I have feathers and I'm doing a hand thing.
It's the birdie.
Birdman, baby.
Kind of do a tornado DDT. What do you think of that?
That's a good one. The bird is just not good.
No, she's athletic and her gimmick is just I wear feathers to the ring. Doesn't do it.
Isn't she a champion too right now?
What she is an instant channel changer for me.
Yes, she is.
And she has the women's IC.
She got the women's IC. I thought, okay,
yeah.
Which just shows you, like, in comparison, I feel like Chelsea Green is doing just amazing work on the other side with the U.S.
With the Secret Service.
I mean, everything there is gold right now.
They named it that?
Yes, it's so good.
We're saying that we need a name. The Secret Service.
I give her so much credit. She's been amazing at everything she's done lately. So good for her.
Well, she's way more seasoned than Lyra. So it's whatever. She's getting her matches and they're pushing her now. So hopefully she figures something out on the character side. Because Chelsea's just a more interesting person I watch on TV, so it's not even really a fair comparison.
Way more. I guess which leads me to, I mean, unless, do you have one, Nick? You don't have to have one. It's okay if you don't.
I honestly don't, because even I think of like some of the crappiest guys from WCW that, you know, and I'm like, no, they entertained me in one way or another, you know?
Yeah, I get you. I understand.
So it's hard. It's really hard. There's nobody that I can think of that I like love to hate. What do you want? I'm going to say Stevie Ray because he broke up Harlem Heat.
Oh, dude, that was terrible.
Like, come on.
Loves Harlem Heat.
Could have had more Harlem Heat, so we'll blame Stevie Ray for that.
At least Booker T kept the theme music, which was like 99% of the reason that Harlem Heat was.
Yeah, that's a hot theme.
It was like, right?
Yeah.
I guess. All right. So we're talking about championships, and I guess that can lead us into. I feel like SmackDown's been in a little bit of a weird place lately, where we've had some title changes, and notably being LA Knight taking back the U.S. title, and this past week the Street Profits winning the tag titles. And I feel like it's just not hitting at all. And you're talking to two people that absolutely love LA Knight more than anybody, and me and Nick. And
yeah, absolutely.
This did not hit at all. And I don't know if it's because of the match with Shin. Just wasn't great.
Yeah. No, I'm all day. I'm all day on my boy. Don't forget it. Okay. But yeah, I'm on board with not caring right now.
It's how do we not care about this? But that whole feud was just. We didn't even talk about it.
This is a sin. I own these.
You did. You own them, and we're still not.
The guy gets his second.
How do you see through those when it says LA Knight on it? Can you see it?
Yeah, I have tried to drive with these.
Not a good idea.
I don't recommend it. Don't recommend trying to drive with the LA Knight glasses on. It's not safe.
Not safe. Okay.
Looks cool, not safe.
Yeah.
Got it. But yeah, no, I'm totally on board with what's going on with like these title changes. It's not like they don't make sense. I think the belts are on the right people going into Mania.
Agreed.
But yeah, it just didn't hit. And it's weird because part of, I feel like what everybody was on last year were like, oh, these titles are never changing hands. They're only changing hands at PLEs. We've had a ton of title changes on TV in the past month. And maybe it was too many because these two didn't hit. I feel like the EO one definitely did.
I think the EO one hit for sure.
Yeah, it did. But yeah, both of these are kind of whatever. But based on our earlier conversation, maybe SmackDown brings it around tomorrow with getting the Roman Punk Seth segment. I mean, that's all it takes is having one, really interesting thing happen to be like, oh, this was a good SmackDown.
Part of the issue you run into with the LA Knight win is it's that more mid-card belt. And there's times when a U.S. title or IC belt could be elevated, and it just wasn't with Shinsuke. It was like, we're repackaging him. We're kind of getting into him. And then ultimately, it just seems like they're kind of abandoning ship on Shinsuke. It was a meaningless run like his other runs that he's had with these mid-card titles. And it just went right back to LA Knight, who had it previously. So it just felt like a quick transition just to get the belt on him one more time. And is Shinsuke gone now? I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of people were wondering that if that was his kind of last hurrah. I thought I had read somewhere that he wanted to go back. I don't know if it was New Japan or
it would be New Japan to work with. I want to say who's that Tanahashi for his final run,
right?
Or work with.
That would make a lot of sense.
That's cool and that's great. And I feel like if that's what they do,
that's like the right send off for him. So
for sure,
yeah.
I don't know. It just maybe it was the people that were holding the like I don't know about you guys. I've never been a big DIY guy. That's okay. Add a guy to the love to hate Mount Rushmore is so easily Johnny Gargano. I can't stand that guy or his wife. They're just
because he just seems like a nice guy.
They're boring. They're so boring. I just can't with them.
Yeah. Them being heels was a little good, but I mean the tag division on SmackDown is.
You seem really.
I know. I couldn't
It was
convince
a little
myself.
good. Oh man.
was
I
the
convinced.
saddest-
That was a pretty
that was the
shitty
saddest
sell on my
attempt at
part.
some enthusiasm.
Yeah.
There was no enthusiasm there.
Oh my
I
god.
like couldn't even look at the camera when I said it. That
Like, it's a
was
little
a
good.
little good.
Yeah, bring him back. Bring him back.
But no, they're not fighting. Tommaso and Johnny are not fighting yet. But yeah, you got them. You got pretty whatever. Street Profits are the best tag team. They deserve of this like mishmash they've been throwing at each other for the past few months. So let them defend it. At Mania, see what happens.
Quick question about the tag titles, and this is like just a yes or no. Do you think the Hardy Boys are in a tag title match at WrestleMania?
No.
Not this year.
Okay. I'm gonna go no as well. Greg, I saw a lot of stuff at the bottom of our show sheet. Is there any of that you would love to talk about? Is there something on there that you just really wanted to get to? I know there is. I know there is.
Yeah. You know I want to get to it.
Okay.
You want me to bring up the Otis one?
I want you to bring. I want you to bring up whatever one that you really wanted to bring up.
Here's the one we got to get to.
Okay.
All right. You know where we're located. We're in the New York, New Jersey area. You own a deli. You're naming a sandwich after a wrestler. Who are you naming the sandwich after? And what is that sandwich? Let's go.
I wish I had more time to think about this. But I'm thinking maybe like the Santino Morella, since I'm Morello. You get the Santino Morella. Just put some roast beef in a sock.
That's
swinging that.
It just starts swinging it around.
Yeah.
That would be perfect.
Yeah.
That would.
Is it supposed to be like the Cobra or is it just a sock?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's supposed to be like the Cobra, yeah. But then I just like throw the coleslaw at you.
Wow.
And that's the sandwich.
You have to throw it though, the coleslaw.
I'm definitely gonna spend time thinking about this when I have time and comment on our episode, the real sandwich, and I hope other people do too, because little do people know that this podcast is just a feeder to promote our future wrestling themed deli.
Yeah. In Times Square, located next to WWE Zone or whatever it was called.
Where we've already thought of all of these wraps already.
We don't have wraps. We have schoolboy roll-ups.
Oh, wow. Oh, now we need to get on this.
Sandwiches.
I'm trying to be honest with you. I'm trying to think of something, and I cannot. I've thought of a lot of poor taste ones.
Could you go?
Like, you need direction.
Rob, that says a lot.
What would the mankind be? What would the mankind be?
It would just be like a mishmash
either
of
go
shit.
Start with the wrestler and make the sandwich, or make the sandwich and just put a wrestler on it.
It would be dirty.
2 ways to do it.
It would be like, it'd probably be some, I don't know, maybe some brisket with like a lot of barbecue sauce on it, and I don't know. It could not be clean. You're getting real dirty.
I'm giving you guys so much to run with, and you guys dropping the ball.
Dropping the ball.
Well, I would love.
Greg's got a good one.
Yeah, Greg.
Now this is my question right now. Here's what we're finally going to do. This. I want to hear from somebody, anybody, on Instagram, on Twitter. Tell us. You have a deli. You're naming a sandwich after a wrestler. Which wrestler and what is the sandwich? Maybe and why. Get to it. I want to know this.
Right now. Don't wait.
Well, I don't think it's posted. We're not like live.
Well, right
live?
We're live. Like last week when for a brief 15 seconds.
That's a great window.
That was a great run right there.
Before we go,
yeah.
What's give a last thought? I feel like we got to stay with what we did last week. What's your last thought on this?
I think Nick probably summed it up great, and I don't want to steal his thunder, but he mentioned the Punk Roman and Seth. I think next week that's probably what we're going to be talking about. I don't And
no matter what happens on Raw, that's going to be the news, man.
For sure. And maybe we're talking about hot crowds again because, like you said, also these crowds have been fantastic, and they're going to eat up every second of that Punk, Seth, and Roman.
Everyone, when they come out in Europe, they are a star. They are the reason you're there is to see whoever just came out of that curtain.
Yep.
So it makes it more fun to watch. That's for sure. Because the excitement.
And that's my final thought. I feel like this is a good thing for Drew McIntyre, who is so deserving right now. Give him the hot European crowd right now. Let the guy do what he does because he deserves better than what he's been getting.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. Let him cook. Just like McNeese at the 12 seed. Let him cook.
And we'll check in with Nick. We'll check in with your bracket next week.
I'll let you know whatever Chat GPT told me to do. Let you know if I'm stealing money from my relatives.
Like we told you, everybody, this week's episode was brought to you by Steve Austin's Broken Skull 316 IPA by El Segundo Brewing. Go out and get yourself a 6-pack, or I guess it's a 4-pack. And that's it. We'll see you guys next week. Take it easy.
All right. Night, everybody.